give you a definitive. Let us, and which teaches us, anyways, have on nuances and details, to grow in the two beasts and the dread. Let us right in with chapter 14. Then. The voice I heard for the elders. No one could themselves with women, for they are virgins. And in worship in 29 this week for God up in the timbrel in Psalm 151. No one can learn that up in the timbrel in Psalm 151. No one can learn that the word going on in the timbrel in Psalm 151. No one can learn that the word going on in the original language. The word going on in the original language, people in worship who are gathered there. The word going on in the original language, people in worship who are gathered there. Gathering of God's army. As we're getting just for notes if we didn't cover Hebrews 12:18-24. The church is equated with Mount Zion, so that's what these 144,000 symbolize. Equated with Mount Zion, so that's what these 144,000 symbolize the whole church's virginity, which is St. Paul's. All right, so let's jump in now to the proclamations of the three angels. Gospel to proclaim to those God and give him glory. So that's the first angel's proclamation. Tell you what, let's read all of them and then we'll go back to the first proclamation. I'll continue on with verse 8. Let's read all of them and then we'll go back to the first proclamation. I'll continue on with verse 8. Who made all nations, if anyone poured full stroke of their torment goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night. These worshippers of the beast and its image, and whoever receives the mark of his name, heaven saying, write this, blessed are angel means heaven saying, write this, blessed are angel means messenger, so about the first angel on with the angels here. Different messages. Glory, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship. Gospel had a war between one went into the enemies. News of his victory, but and Christians borrowed that specific requirements until later on in Antioch. When we're called Christians, supposed to live. That goes with that. So this is you're right. This is the preacher. This is the gospel. This is the first angel. So this is a way of praising God, which is instead of just saying praise God, praise his name, focusing on God. We see this quite a bit in the Old Testament. The first place we see it, though, is in Exodus chapter 15, what's called the Song of the Sea. Right? Moses breaks out into song, praising God for the defeat of his enemy by a pastor who. We've got doxology. What is this? What is the third angel? Exactly. This is exhortation. Repent now. Here is a call for to what's so or blessed. It's being translated. It's funny because sometimes Bible translations do that and some don't. You'll often see that. And I say to you that. Excuse me. It's the word vayi. Okay. Then I looked, and behold, another angel came out of the temple. The harvest of the earth is fully ripe. Angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he called with a loud. Angel swung his sickle across the winepress. Here, you're absolutely seeing it correctly. Be used to judgment because the people. This is correct. Be used to judgment because the people. This is where you'll get, some Christians throughout history, and there's a lot of talk about this in evangelical circles right now as we think about what hell means. People say, how do we think about hell? And some Christians have said, hell is God's judgment for those who reject God. If you love God, one of them, which should be a blessing, the fruit of the is a common Jewish blessing of the day. Those of you who've been to our Passover meal know that. Again, they would look. These are the two elements that are used for a peace offering. And now they become, because the people rejected God, they now become what should be the blessing. Is that the 100 circle is a stadia. So that's why 1,600 of them end to end is 180 miles. Yeah. It that you don't now the time is full. Now's the time. Mm-hmm. But harvest time hungry. Okay, you got but then there was always, and it would be a time of joy, the time of harvest. God who have clung right that protects them, fullness, and of course, like geopolitical reasons. But the morality tale becomes the slavery issue, and that's when the battle hymn of the Republic becomes what the Union. It's civil wars, but now this is over an issue of critical moral importance now. And that's why this imagery felt appropriate. I forget what her name was who authored the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
And the second angel and the third angel came and we talk about reaping and good people and the bad people.
Well, so there will get to the judgment, which is later, but this depth of a horse. Okay. Particular one, yeah. So what you're looking at is that's the point. That's everybody being covered in 28 faith. That remember virginity here and is going to be focused on implementing work. So these are target officers specifically on the battlefield or symbolism. Someone is given classical specifically. It couldn't be. You were not supposed to do war. Just like the Geneva Conventions, not always follow war. Just like the Geneva Conventions, not always followed against each other. In the modern times, these guys all went to school together. People in wars. Modern times, these guys all went to school together. People in wars. Even they're actually civil crossing over. So it's really functional. Then they're actually civil crossing over. So it's really functional. Then I saw another sign in. And I saw what appeared to be a sea of glass, standing, great and amazing are your deeds by your name. For you looked with golden sashes across their chests, and eggs of the seven.
Like the sea of glass.
Sea of glass, the harps we've seen. So we're meeting. We have almost like an overlap at the end of Exodus, the Song of Moses from Exodus. 7 judgments. This is where the scholars debate: is it basically one series of 7 judgments replaced again and again, or is it a series of 7 judgments of 7? God is finished. So this. So if there's example, again, if you really want to, a large they go to a cathedral is you want to have all the deacons, the Ethiopian Orthodox. But I was the pastor's wife and two girls, and me and one American convert on the other side, so he could help me understand what was going on, because the service was in Arabic and Coptic. Keep coming in partway through, and they your shoes, but there were at least like a visual picture, and we see going on here. These angels are coming out, and there's the incense going on here. These angels are coming out, and there's the incense. So these are offerings, right? If you had been, that's how it's. If it's incense, it's thrown in the burning coals. If worship action, ancient world would have known exactly what was going on here. Ancient world would have known exactly what was going on here.
The Pharaoh.
10, which points to
the Pharaoh.
10, which points to that not being. Yes, Christians. What's the going on in heaven? The word. If you're from the word. If you're from a typically he doesn't grab my access to God. He doesn't grab my access to God. And of course the smoke that we're told that the temples are 6 with the purification. We're told that the temples are 6 with the purification. You're pushing the sin that has been crunching in from a sinful world, crushing in towards the Holy of Holies is being pushed back. Towards the Holy of Holies is being pushed back out. The other thing it does is very out. The other thing it does is the reason why they say the high priest will die. So the smoke is too high, blast fatal to his ankle. So the smoke is too high, blast fatal to his ankle in case he died in there. In case he died in there. Because no one was going in after him. They're going to haul him out with a rope. Okay? A rope. Okay? So the incense is the vision of God if God appears in the song. Already won. They're not realization slain on a hill out. It's just playing out now. In the Bible, that would, yeah, else for us, right? Just when it says it's tabernacled with us. So tabernacles. So there's just, I think it's a more powerful way to translate the word, especially because it is actually the word in the original. Tense conjure for me picture part of what 38. Okay, there's going to be no Abraham debating with God. Well, how many righteous will you find in the city before you destroy it? You know, familiar with living in the 1400s. They weren't the strong advisory capacity and had certain abilities to. The same thing here. This is these and pray for them. This is essentially what we have going on. Liturgical action, lavabo, glass for us. Our church isn't that formal and doesn't do it that way. But if you go to most Anglican churches or do it or Episcopal churches, I think most Catholic churches do it. Is a ritual action of worship. Voice from his bowl on the earth. An angel poured out his bowl and who is what they deserve. Are your yeah, it was enacted in out of physical slavery in Egypt, their oppressor. Physical slavery in Egypt, their oppressor.
The gods that they were worshiping.
Yes.
Right? So is there significance here?
Yes, and even they you're right. They communicate. Yes, and even they you're right. They communicated to us. Exodus. The pagan worship involves sexual immorality. And involve that. So you're using your body in a way. They sacrificed the blood of the saints. Now you're generic paganism. Now all of these liturgical actions are acts of sacrifice from your actions are acts of sacrifice from your rabbi. Parallel to the day and during the feast of dedication, which of course Jewish people at that time would have seen. The temple was just the only one left. Right. Let's go on to the fourth angel. Does that remind you of anything from the Old Testament? Position rather than learning. Say in the book of fire and hail from heaven. That's a good. Yeah, for sure. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Right. Even if God said, no matter what they again. Verse 10, the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and its kingdom was plunged into darkness. People gnawed their tongues, becoming our liturgical refrain. They did not regret. You think about plague here, right? Right? So the beast is sort of the new Pharaoh, right? We're getting all these parallels described as gnashing of teeth. Does anybody know what that's an image for? It's obviously judgment. Jesus uses the image of madness, people losing their sanity. It's from animals, right? They're losing their ability to be human in a fundamental sense. They're going mad. I don't think is plunged into dark beast anyway. It's amazing how hard-hearted. That's the term. Yeah, you can. Yeah, well, you're the thing that you want can become so disordered that you want the opposite of what you were made to want in the first place, right? We get not just like being a demonic. Yeah, a colleague of mine really make. They sound like all those old jokes where like somebody meets St. Peter at the gate of heaven kind of thing, and they're all like that. It's a series of like 50 stories of somebody meets someone at the gate of heaven, and what it's like. This is like, let's wrap up before we adjourn here with the sixth angel. And its mouth of the false prophets of the whole world to assemble them for one who stays awake, keeping is called. We did. We'll pick up.